January will mark the 2-year date since the last time Lonzo Ball played basketball, and we now have an update in regards to the status as Billy Donovan has said that for the first time in a while, Lonzo Ball feels absolutely no pain in his knee right now, and the plan is for him to start running and cutting in January. This may not seem like a major update or news, but it really is when it comes down to Lonzo Ball's progression. We always knew the Bulls ruled him out to come back this season before the season even started. But this is a significant step forward for Lonzo Ball. Now, let's be clear here. It does not mean that Lonzo Ball is going to be back on the court anytime soon. It does not mean that even remotely. But with the fact that Lonzo Ball was in town last week, per Billy Donovan, he has positivity and optimism, and that the pain that he was experiencing has been eliminated. Now, does that mean one thing that we've seen with Lonzo Ball over the course of this whole saga is that anytime he has tried to ramp up, the pain has gone back up with him. And so let's hope that that's not going to be the case at this point. But Lonzo Ball, who now has that plan, and they already said that there was a clear timeline in place for him to see if he can get back on the basketball court. This does not mean that he's going to get back on the basketball court anytime soon. I want to be clear here. Just because he's pain-free does not mean that he is going to return back to the basketball court. But at the end of the day, this is a big step forward for him. And once he does start running next month, which January is only a couple of days away, once that does happen, they'll start getting a more feel on what that's going to be. Now, every time Lonzo has tried to ramp up in pass, he's kind of got knocked back down. So let's hope that that's not the case. This will be the first time that he's going to start running and cutting and things since he had that cartilage transplant surgery last March. So it's almost a year since then. And we always knew that it was going to be quite a bit of link there between the timeline of his return. But hey, right now, this is probably the most positive news we've gotten on Lonzo Ball in quite a while. Now, again, do not be surprised. Do not expect to hear any other updates on Lonzo anytime soon, even with him running and cutting. He's doing his rehab with his doctors in LA. It's not here in Chicago. And the Bulls are going to try to avoid as much as they can getting the hopes up of the fans too much. So you're not going to see hear a whole heck of a lot as far as updates on Lonzo Ball's situation. Maybe every 3, maybe every 6 months, something like that. But this offseason, we always knew that Lonzo Ball is going to try to make a return back to basketball next season. Will he be successful in that? It's really going to come down to how his body responds to going back to running and cutting, and how that surgery repair knee gets back to that. That cartilage transplant surgery, he would be the first professional basketball player to come back and play after this type of surgery that he's had. So we'll end up seeing. He has a $21.4 million option on his deal next year. There's little to no chance of the opts out of that, considering the physical things he's going through. And even if Lonzo does return next season, as I said when this news kind of dropped, we were on the middle of the pregame show, is that do not expect Lonzo Ball to come back next season and immediately jump into things at a high level. You're probably going to see Lonzo have a minutes restriction the whole first year he comes back, if he can come back. And then on top of that, you're going to also see him probably not play back-to-backs. In a perfect world, at most, if nothing happens, no setbacks during the season, even if Lonzo does return back to basketball next season, you're probably looking at a cap of 45 to 50 games that he's going to play, even with the minutes restriction, probably around 15 to 18 minutes. So that's going to happen for Lonzo Ball if he's able to come back and return. That's the future that could be there for him. But as that picture gets a little bit more clear, we'll be reporting on it as only we can do at the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. That's Chicago Bulls Central. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.